Good morning, everyone. It is Saturday, 29th of March, and today I am planting my potatoes at last. I love potato planting day. It sort of marks the start of spring, really, and the start of the new season when you finally get your seed potatoes in the ground. So I've got 4 different varieties. I've actually got 5, but 4 going into this bed. So I've got my favourites. I've got Charlotte, which is a lovely second early. Then I've got Picasso, I've got Desiree, and I have got Pink Fir Apple, which are all main crop. And they are all going into this lovely big bed. Haven't had anything in this bed for, I didn't have anything in last year. I don't think I had anything in the year before either. It had loads of manure added to it, so the soil is really, really good. So I'm not going to add anything now apart from a handful of bone meal with each seed potato. Now, these have been on the windowsill chitting, so they've all got lovely shoots on them, so they're all looking really nice and they're ready to go in the ground now. So we're just going to do, so we've got the 4 varieties, 4 rows of 3, and we'll see if we've got a bit of space spare. I might put, these are Nicola, which are a second early or a first. I think they're a second. I'll double check. So I've got some of these as well, which I could put in if I've got enough room, but we'll see. I don't want to overcrowd it. I'm going to give them plenty of space, so hopefully we get loads in return. So first things first, just going to give the bed a very quick rake over. Like I said, there's not been anything in this bed for a year. There's plenty of compost. Not compost, sorry, cardboard put on top of the bed last year, which has rotted down a bit, and the manure that we put on as well. So just giving that, push all the chunky bits to the outside. What have we got here? See, this is why we have a bit of a rake over, just see what's in there that shouldn't be. So the soil in this bed is actually really nice. It'll be full of nutrients as well, so it'll be, gosh, what is that? Full of random stuff too. But yeah, plenty of nutrients in here, which is going to keep everything well fed. And the reason I'm not enriching the soil with anything at the minute is because when I come to earth up, so I do like a mulching earth up, and at that point I will use a soil conditioner or improve, something like that to earth up, which will then enrich everything. Something really satisfying about raking a fresh bed, isn't there? Right, that'll do. So those big chunky bits are just the bits of sort of like manure that take a bit longer to break down. But because I've not done anything with this bed, it's just been left and sat, but it'll be fine. For potatoes, absolutely fine. Now I've got these lovely little plant markers, so I'm going to use these. So I've got them written out already, so I don't get confused when I get them in the ground as to which is which. So I'm just going to dot these at the front of each row, so we know which row is which, because as much as I like to think I'll remember, I never ever do. So always label. So we're actually going to have Charlottes down this end, because they're our second early, so they'll come up first, which will mean that space there will be free for leeks to go in after. So Charlotte's, then we'll go for Picasso and Desiree, and then Pink Fir Apple on the end. And I think actually spacing wise, that'll be nice spacing for them. You want your main crops to have a bit more room than what your seconds and your first earlies need, so that'll work quite well. Now I need to remember which is which. So pink fir apple is an easy one because it looks like knobbly little knobbly little fingers, so they can go down here. 3, and then the rest I did actually write on them. I know these are Charlottes, remember they were quite big seed potatoes. So Charlotte down here, and then what have I got? These will be Desiree because they're red. They're going down here, and then Picasso in the middle. Right. The one thing I do struggle with on this allotment is red ants, and I've just spotted them in this bed. So hopefully, once I've got something growing in here and watering it well, they'll soon go because they're an absolute pain. Now, when it comes to planting your potatoes, a couple of ways of doing it. You could sort of follow the traditional digging a trench, lining that with some homemade compost or some bone meal or something, and then popping your potatoes in. I follow no dig sort of principles, so I'll do mine slightly different, but I'm going to show you that, so don't worry. When you're planting, ideally you want to have the end that's got the most chits facing up. So if they are underneath, they'll still grow, but it is better if they're up because then they get a bit of a head start because they're just going to grow that direction, head upwards. So I'll show you how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to plant mine at a trowel's depth. So all I'm going to do is get the trowel in, pull that soil back, make sure you've got a good bit of space there, and then a handful of bone meal in the bottom, seed potato in. I'm actually going to put it in that way. That goes in there, and then cover it up, gentle firm down. Don't forget to put your label in so you know where your row is starting. Same again here. Right, so bone meal and then potato in. So you can see it's probably sitting about an inch below the soil surface. And that down. And this one there. And it's as easy as that. And then as they start to grow, we'll put a mulch on top that whole row rather than earthing up. So earthing up is drawing the soil from the side. Instead of doing that, we're just going to put some homemade compost or some bagged mulch or something on top of that row. Right, onto the next one. Such a nice day today as well. Really lucky on the plot that it's really sheltered, so I don't get any of the wind, which is good. I put my shorts on this morning and thought, maybe not, but actually, up here, it's totally different to what I get at home. Quite nice. Spend a bit of time up here. The varieties that I'm growing, I have grown for a few years now, and they are firm favourites. I've tried loads of different varieties to see what works in this area, and these do really well. I've actually been growing, so I've been growing potatoes for 17 years now, which is mad. Potatoes was actually, I'm just going to turn you around so you can still see. Potatoes is actually the first thing that I ever grew. So back when I was 17, got a job in a garden centre, and my boss, it was March when I began, we got to maybe April, and my boss gave me a bag of straggly seed potatoes. He said, here you go, take them home and plant them. So off I went with this bag of straggly seed potatoes, and I said to my dad when I got home, I said, right, where can I plant these? So off we went into the garden and found a space that might potentially have been an old veg garden. And yeah, so we got them planted, and honestly that moment of putting that first seed potato into the ground was it just changed everything. I got the bug straight away. My hands, my fingers turned green, sort of thing. And I was like, right, what can I grow next? What else can I put in? So you plant something and then that's it until however many months. So I was sort of waiting, and I was like, well, what can I do now? So we've got, it would have been some onion sets and some shallots. I don't think there was any garlic or not, because obviously it was into April now. And yeah, got those planted, which was just lovely, and it was the start of my journey, the start of everything, which was really nice. So growing potatoes is actually really quite special for me, because that is where my growing journey started. So I will always this much more. I will always grow potatoes. So yeah. Now we're on to the pink fir apple. So obviously they're the knobbly fingers. I might actually just go flat with these rather than going like that. We'll go flat, and they'll be. It's a bit easy, you don't have to dig quite as deep a hole there. All sorts of things in this bed. I'm not going to bother watering these eggs. It's got quite a bit of rain overnight. And the ground isn't particularly dry either. So that's the potatoes all planted now. I'm going to leave them, like I said, I'm not going to water them in because it is going to rain tonight, so they'll be absolutely fine. I'm going to do some in a bag at home as well, so we'll head there next, and I'll film that too so you can see how to do them in a bag. Before I nip off, I'm going to sow some carrots and some parsnips, which I'll probably put them on Instagram, and then maybe put like a short video on here for carrots and that. But I could always do another video another time. If you want, let me know if you want a carrot video as well, and we can get that done. Right, let's go. I'm going to do carrots and then we'll get the ones in the bags at home. Right, I am back home. It's freezing. Shorts was not a good idea. So I'm going to get changed. Kettle's on. I've got so these are jazzy seed potatoes. So I'm going to do these in bags. So I'm just going to show you. So if you're limited for space and you don't have the raised beds, or if you don't have the ground, you can grow them in bags, and I'll show you how to do that. So these are jazzy, which I think they're either a first or a second early. I think they're a first early. Nice, reasonable size. So I'm probably going to do 4 in each bag, but I'll show you the whole process as soon as I've made a cup of tea. Spartacus has come to help, although I'm pretty sure by help I mean not help. Right, back home now. Oh my god, the weather has changed. It's cold, it's windy, and it's been raining as well. So hiding in the greenhouse, but that's fine. So if you're growing in a bag, so if you don't have space, raised beds, or if you don't have an allotment or whatever, you can grow them in bags. Now, this is probably quite a big bag to what you usually get, but I would advise trying to go for this size if you can. It's probably, I don't know if it's maybe like a 50 or a 60 litre. Some of the bags that you can get online might only come up to about here, which is a little bit short, and tend to be quite a bit smaller. You can still grow in them. You'd probably want to put 2 seed potatoes in those, whereas this size you can get away with 3. You don't want to put too many in because potatoes will grow big. You want to give them plenty of space. Make sure that they're well fed, they're well watered, and they're not gonna struggle competing if there's too many in there. So in the bottom of this bag, I have got maybe 2 or 3 inches of homemade compost. So I've just got that out of the compost bins now, and I've put that in the bottom. There's still a few twigs and whatnot in there, but it's absolutely fine. And then on top of that, I'm going to put maybe 2 or 3 inches of compost, just bagged compost. So I've got the this is the Growmore Better Growing Black Gold Organic Peat-Free Compost. Gosh, that's a mouthful. With the urban worm, so it's got worm castings in it as well. Really nice stuff, actually. So we're going to just put some in the bottom there. Now make sure whatever bag you're using has drainage holes in the bottom, because if not, I'm just going to close this door because it's getting a bit... That's a bit better. Yeah, if there's no drainage holes in the bottom and your seed potatoes just sit wet, they're going to rot, and they're not going to be happy at all. So make sure you've got plenty of drainage holes in there. This bag, the holes are probably about 2 inches up on the side, so I might actually put some more a bit further down just to make sure it's got that drainage that it needs. But as long as the compost that I put in sits above those holes, that means the seed potatoes are sitting above those holes as well, so they're less likely to be sitting like wet and rotting, because seed potatoes can rot. If they're too wet, they will just rot, they'll turn to mush, and then that's it, game over. So you want to make sure you look after them, because they do give you a lot in return. You probably get about, I would say on average, 12 potatoes per seed potato, so really worth growing. Sometimes you'll get more, sometimes you'll get less, sometimes it depends, you know, what size you get and whatnot, but yeah, really worth growing and really worth looking after them. Right, so that's the compost in the bottom. Right, so next we're going to put some bone meal just in the bottom of here. So when we planted them, obviously put a handful in with each one. But with this, because they're all going in the same bag, just a nice generous handful into that whole bag. And then straight on top of that is going to go our seed potatoes. So like I said, I'm going to do 4 in this bag because it's a big bag, and they should be fine. Should I do 3? I might do 3. I might play it safe. I'm going to do 3. Right, ignore me before. We're doing 3. We're not doing 4. So 3. These aren't the ones that I said I was going to do either. I've totally just changed everything. These are the Nicola that I took to the allotment, but I didn't plant. So they're going to go in here. The other potatoes, I'm going to see if I can maybe give them to someone, to a school or something like that might use them, because I don't need any more and I don't want to waste them. So 3 potatoes going into this big bag, and we're just sitting them on top so that those shoots are all facing upwards. You can plant them sort of like that or on their side, but you want those shoots facing up, and we're just nestling them on top like that. Then we're gonna cover those with some more compost to about, so that they're about 1 inch covered. And then we're going to leave them in, probably going to leave them in the greenhouse, but you could put them somewhere sheltered outdoors. But you just need to keep a check for evening temperatures. If it's going to be frosty, then you need to put them in the shed or into a garage or something, just to stop those tubers from getting frosted. Obviously, being in bags means the frost can get to them much easier than if they were in the ground. So just breaking that compost up. Oh, that's my potato. Goodness me. And I have just knocked, well, that was not ideal. I've just knocked a couple of the little shoots off. We've still got one. They'll grow fine. But yeah, I've picked that up thinking that was a chunk of compost there. Right, I'm going to try and tip some in. Be a bit quicker. There we go, that should do. So obviously this bag being a bit bigger, I'm probably going to use just over a full bag of compost. Some of the smaller bags, you'd only need 1 bag of compost. You can actually use the bag of compost to grow in. Just put some holes in the bottom. Make sure you've sort of broken it all up and then plant into the bottom of that. But I like these bags because they have these little windows on the side, little doors, so you can open them to check throughout the season if any are ready, and you can pick them as you need them, but the rest of the plant can carry on growing, which is really nice. And it makes harvesting, like just picking a few when you want, so much easier. So yeah, if you can get the ones with the little doors on the side, I would highly recommend it. Now, as they grow, I will show you what to do. Really easy. For now, these are going to go in the greenhouse. I'm going to water them in, and then they're just going to hide in the back of the greenhouse. Absolutely fine until they start growing. Once they've started growing, the shoots are maybe a couple of inches, we'll cover with more compost. As the weather improves, we'll move them outside, and we'll just keep an eye on night temperatures, make sure it doesn't get frosty, and if it does, we'll bring them into the greenhouse. If you don't have a greenhouse, just put some fleece over them or put the bag in the shed, and that'll be fine. But hopefully we're not going to get too many more hard frosts now. We're heading into April, so fingers crossed. But here where I am, we can get frost mid-May. Mid-May is our last frost date. So you got to be on guard with it, check it regularly. I tend to check it regularly anyway for the greenhouse, but yeah, keep an eye. And then I will, like I said, I'll show you what to do as we get to that point. My little friend's just come in. He obviously wants to say hi. Hey, Spartacus. Yes. He's been running around the garden like an absolute loon, having a great time, haven't you? Yes, I'm not sure how much help he really is, but he's entertaining, so yeah. Anyway, I'm going to get these watered in. Any questions, please do ask, and happy potato planting!